Hi, this is the Bible Ranger, and this is Saving Money, Stewardship Part 3, Preparing for End Times, episode number 8 in its entirety. This is going to be about credit score and credit cards, and there'll be a little bonus in there about ID theft. So, by the way, they have a lot of information in them, so you might feel free to take notes and go over them over and over again so you can get all the information. All right, credit card system. You've heard of death by a thousand cuts? Well, likewise, in the debt industry, it's debt by many little loans. Now, you got to fight the impulse. As adults, you have to make a plan and you have to follow it, while children do what they want. And that might sound like a simple quote, but you have to realize that the credit card industry and the financial industry, they bring us up with television commercials thinking that everything is about us. You deserve it. Get it right now. Why wait? You only live once. But these are some quotes from an inside whistleblower. So let's hear what they actually think behind the scenes. All right, this is what they said. We charge interest rates as high as almost 25%. Late fees for customers, even if it was 1 penny past due, it was $29. Get customers to send a post-dated check, then cash it regardless of the date. So then they can charge you the $29. And this employee particularly was working on September 11, 2001. And the manager came up to the workers and he said, I know what's going on, but we have a job to do, so keep calling the customers. That's pretty messed up. Dave Ramsey says that if their lips are moving, they're lying. I can see that. Now, this is called a Fico score. And what it stands for Fair Isaac Corporation. They were like the first ones to come up with this system. And they make it seem like this is like the most important thing that you need to come up with and do and control. But this is their view of it. Now, this 30% here, see if I use the pad here, this 30% here, where it says available credit, what it really means is available debt. Okay, when they say here, the number of inquiries on your debt, every time they look at it, it kind of gets pinged. What it really stands for is new debt. You're looking into new debt. Over here where it says type of credit really is the type of debt that you got, like the mortgage companies, installments, revolving credits. It's a type of debt. And this one, the payment history, the biggest one, it's really your debt history. That history. And this one, the length of time, really stands for, oh, by the way, this 30% up here, the debt level. You put that up here first. And the 15% is the length of time that you are controlling your debt. So even though they say this is your credit score, it's really your credit debt. All these debts together. But like anything else, they'll just change the word on it and it makes it sound better. All right. We have been conditioned that having a good credit, it's a good thing. And you know what? In some cases, it can help you out. But how can you function without credit? It's called cash. Cash is way better, and we'll find out why. For a high FICO score or credit score, or I call debt score, you have to make continuous debts. You have to make your payments. You have to have debts that are not too high, not too low. It's a very sensitive issue here. But basically, when you have your debts in the cycle that they want you to have, you'll increase your FICO score. Now, don't fall for these credit repair scams. Now, if you get into trouble, you'll have things on your credit score. Like over here, you'll see 79% of all credit reports have some kind of mistake. That's most people. 25%, they have serious mistakes, enough to stop a loan. 30%, You might close the account, but the credit bureau still has it in there. 22% has a mortgage or another type of loan reported twice. So how do you fix this? You can do this free. You don't need these credit companies to help you out. What you need is that there's a rule out there where you can, once a year, annually, per company, there's 3 companies, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. And once a year on each of them, you can actually get a free report. So if you do it every 4 months, you can actually be covered through the whole year. So the first one, do Experian, wait 4 months, do TransUnion, wait for a month, do Equifax. Now, once you give them something in writing, like you found a mistake, they have 30 days to reply, whether they correct it or they remove the inaccuracies. Now, identity theft. This is not on the thumbnail, but this is a little extra. It affects about 15 million people. If you put a fraud victims alert on your credit report, it's free, but it'll stay there for about 90 days. But if you have a police report, it can stay there permanent. So there's an advantage to that. Now, 80%, this is shocking, 80% of ID thefts are from people you know. That could be a relative, a friend that stole your credit card, a waiter, whatever. But 80%, that's a high number. If it's stolen, your credit card, and they start taking money from it, you're not responsible for it. However, some credit card companies will try to collect money from you. Contact the fraud victims division of credit and furnish the documentations. But every time you do that, make sure that you do it with certified mail because they have a short memory. Things you might need to know. Complaints go to the Federal Trade Commission. Collectors are trained salespeople and telemarketers. Now, they're trained to evoke an emotion like fear or anger. And that happened to us, actually. In our young 20s, early 20s, they called my wife at her job. It made her cry. She called me, and I started, calling them back, and I was so upset. We started arguing, and they calling me a bad dad, a bad husband. I'm not providing for my family. So I'm like, I'll show you. I'll send you a check. And the thing was that we were hurting. We were laid off or whatever the situation was. I was. And the money that I sent them was basically the light bill or for food. So this is one of the reasons, the Bible talks about when you owe somebody, you become a slave to the lender. So you definitely want to get out of debt. And that was in an earlier episode. All right, creditors must call you between 8 and 9 your time. So if they're in California, it's got to be your time. And they're not supposed to call your work. We were supposed to put it in writing and send, of course, with these guys here, certified mail. They can't just take your wages without proper, lengthy court action, okay, which later on can be used for negotiation. Now, when it comes to the IRS and student loans, that's a different matter, okay? Even if the IRS is wrong, a lot of times they got the big stick, and you kind of have to do what they want. Student loans are going to stay with you for the rest of your life. Settling at a lower percentage. Now, you should always pay your debts, okay? But if you're in a situation where you are 6 to 8 months behind, you fall in a different category. You might be able to, because they'll end up selling your debt to somebody else. So before they do that, they're willing to negotiate. So you might be able to pay off 30 cents on a dollar or 40 cents on a dollar. Now, if you have a much older debt, and you might have to use this website here to find out where your state falls. I think some of them are as little as 2 years, and some of them go as late as 10 years. You might be able to settle at 10 cents on a dollar. It's not going to be easy. You're going to have to haggle and talk and everything else, but it can be done. Now, once your debt has become old, like the very old one, 2 years to 10 years, they're going to try to get you to send a new payment. In this case, do not send any payment because this will start your clock over again. And it'll be a new debt. And instead of negotiating for 10%, it might be 30 or 40%, even 50% now because you don't have a lot of time now. So in this case, you're going to have to wait it out and see what you can bargain with them. Now, if they agree, and you have come to an agreement on how much you're going to pay, make sure you get it in writing because they will lie, okay? Even use this. These apps here are for recording the conversation. Record call, call recorder, REC. There's other ones. They're all free. But the point is, try to get it in writing. Make sure you get an email from them. And this is very important. Never, ever give them access to your bank account because it will clean you out. All right. What about my credit points? I love them. I get airline miles. I get cash back. I get points. Credit card companies get you to spend more money by these two ways. One way is called low friction. And this low friction, what they do is like kind of like swiping. It doesn't hurt you. When you put out cash, the cash leaves you forever. It never comes back. And that's painful. But with a credit card, you swipe it. It was really quick. It was painless. And you get to put the credit card back in your pocket. And it doesn't hurt you. And that's called low friction. Another way is, it's called gamification. And they get to do a trick. They give you points so you can buy cheaper groceries, buy merchandise that's cheaper. They give you cash back. You give you gifts. They give you airline miles. They do a lot of these things, and you end up trading your cash for their rewards. Now, these rewards, like I said, these gamification, it's miles, it's cash back, and points. Could you use it to your advantage? Yes, it is possible, but most likely you're not going to win. And I'll give you some other examples in a second. So what's the problem, you might ask? Bible Ranger, this is the example. Facts about credit cards, and this is amazing, so get ready. MIT had a study that when people pay with credit card versus cash, they spend 100% more. That is twice as much money as you would have if you would have paid for cash. NBC came up with a report that 31% of people, credit card users, never redeem their points. And I can testify to that because years ago when they came up with this mileage for flying, and we got the credit card for that reason, one of us can actually fly to another state for free, and we got busy or whatever it was, we never used it. And they count on this. They're pretty smart people. Now, credit card use is not a way for building wealth. Can it happen every now and then? I'm sure there's a story out there, but the chances are not on your side. 96% of millionaires never carry a credit card use. And why do I say that? Because we're trying to emulate millionaires. Whatever they're doing, we want to do it too. Of course, if it lines up with the Bible, okay? And they don't carry credit card balance. Matter of fact, there was a stats, 2018, that less than half the people actually pay off their credit card on time. Now, credit cards are really something like you call them frenemies, where they seem like they're helping you out. They seem like they're your friend, but at the end, this is what ends up happening to you. They're really your enemy. They're made for debt and to get you on a stranglehold. Right, extra bonus. Be careful with something called skimmers. And it's like this green device here that seems to fit over an ATM machine, the slot where you put your credit card or your debit card, or like a fuel pump. And what they ends up happening is they'll get your credit card number, data, information, and several people are going to use it that day, and they'll pull it right out and then use it to steal your information. Well, one way to find out if you're being fooled or not is that you just grab onto it like he did here, and you just tug on it, see if it comes loose, or you can pull it right out. Now, an extra bonus that I forgot to do on my last video, well, the question is this one. What about using credit cards for renting cars, for renting a hotel, or a new job? Some of these new jobs, they're actually checking your credit. Well, you have to be a little bit proactive. When it comes to cars or hotel, you can use a debit card. It looks the same. When it comes to new job, you ask the job is the interview process part of checking your credit. If they say yes, say, look, I have no credit card or credit score because I have everything paid off. And that actually can work to your advantage. That'll show that you are very responsible. Now, what about buying a house? When it comes to buying a house, you do it the old-fashioned way, and it's called manual underwriting. And a company like that actually does that is Church Hill Mortgage. And I'll probably put this information in a future episode because it's so important. But I just want to give you that extra bonus. Now, your credit with God. There's no scamming. There's no skimming. There's no late fee. You get unlimited points. Your credit is always good with God. That's because Christ paid it all. But you have to repent. You have to turn from your sins and turn to God. And if this video has been helpful to you, please subscribe, pass it to your friends, and please thumbs up. And this is the Bible Ranger keeping the Bible simple, but yet rich in content. And in the future, this is money here, but we're definitely going to hit a lot of Bible topics. All right.